Nerds Talking, the podcast.
Yo, we talk about lightsabers, stunning your TV screens, what you want to stream, everything beyond your dreams. Want to talk about movies, sports, or even politics? Go ahead and tune into us. We'll give you all of it. Whatever you're debating, Xbox or PlayStation, Marvel or DC, Mac or PC. Teraflops when the movie drops, gigabytes, chips, RAM, no matter what it is, we got all of it. Welcome to the show.
Nerds Talking, the podcast.
Welcome to Nerds Talking, the podcast. I'm here with Carlos, Johnny, Laura, and I'm Lafayette. Welcome to the show. Later in the show, we'll have a guest coming on to talk about a book called Travels Through Time, Michael Ricksecker. So that'll be a little bit later. But right now, we're going to jump into just what we do's. And what we do's is talk about geek news. So how you guys feel about that? Everybody feeling good? Laura's drinking something. And Laura, say something because we know you have a magical voice today.
Hi.
Wow. Okay. A dying rabbit. I mean, a dying turtle. Or
I think she jumped in time into the future. Now she's old grandma Laura.
It's not even an exaggeration. That was not an exaggeration. That is just how I sound right now.
You got good old, whatever people say, it's going around. You got it.
Whatever it is, I got it bad.
You got it bad. It's a song by Usher. Good job.
Doesn't keep me from drinking, though.
That is
Did
true.
you get the Rona? Did you test yourself out?
Maybe. I don't know. I don't do tests. What does it
That's
matter?
right.
What am I going to do?
That's right. Don't test. Hell no.
Study
What am
for
I
him.
going to do? What
Yeah.
does it matter?
What does it matter?
Pass.
I'm like you two. I don't test for shit. What is that lump on my chest? Anyway, so there you go. Laura's feeling good. She has wine in her hand, white wine, it looks like, and she's sounding like a smoker for the past 50 years. So that's very well there, Laura. Very well. All right, let's just jump into it. Good old news here I got for you guys. Hey, Warner Brothers putting all their DC films on Tubi. If you guys have Tubi, Tubi's free. So you can watch all your DC movies you want on Tubi. And Tubi is absolutely free. There's no subscription, nothing. You can watch TV shows on there. You can watch live news. There are a ton of movies on Tubi. Anybody here watch Tubi or ever sign up for Tubi?
Yeah, I have Tubi.
Well, there you go. You're going to get all your DC movies you want on Tubi. They're all dumping them on there. So there you
I guess
go.
I can cancel Netflix then because they're all on Netflix as well.
They're also on Max. There's so many options.
Yeah.
And you know why they're doing that? Because no one's subscribing to Max anymore for their DC movies because everybody's seen them. Guess what? Make money, Warner Brothers. Dump them on Tubi. Collect that ad revenue because there's ads when you watch these movies. So, cha-ching, cha-ching. All right, there you go. Zack Snyder back in the news. If you guys don't know, we are only so many days away from Rebel Moon. 7 days away from Rebel Moon dropping on Netflix, which looks exciting. He was asked during a press briefing, hey, would you do more Justice League movies if Warner Brothers gave you the okay? And he said, hell yeah. I cannot wait for it. I want to do more on Netflix as long as they give me my characters back to me. And so, yeah, there you go. So Zack Snyder kind of throwing it out there. Hey,
I
me
don't
do
think
it.
he's going to get his characters back.
no, he's never doing more Justice League movies. He's a sucker.
No.
But you know what? Everybody's a fool. Everybody's a fool. Microsoft is going to give you Game Pass for free if you want it. So,
Do I get my
Game
money
Pass-
back? They charged me just a couple of days ago.
oh no, here's the deal.
$16.99.
It's going to be an ad-based system, just like it is. So you're going to have to watch a bunch of ads before playing your games and so forth. So if you're okay with that, then
That'd be funny if
gonna
the ads played like while you're playing the game. Like right at a crucial point, you're like
Like
I
a
got to kill
pop-up
this fool or
screen.
be killed. And it just pops up.
yeah.
Oh,
Buy the new
buy
Toyota
the-
Tundra. You're like, oh, fuck. I have to kill this guy first. Move that out of my way. Like,
What games are you playing on Microsoft?
On Game
Xbox.
Pass?
Any Xbox
oh,
game.
Game Pass.
Oh, I
has,
see.
like, yeah, hundreds of games.
Yeah.
Hundreds of games. So there's that. Also, Blue Eye Samurai on Netflix has been confirmed for season 2.
Season
Phenomenal
2.
cartoon if you like to watch it. Good. And Disney announces a new animated show coming to you called The Eyes of Wakanda. Yeah, a TV show about Wakanda. So if you like Black Panther, then more Wakanda coming your way. There you go. And so there you go. And we'll jump into movies. Wonka's
Is it
coming
gonna
out.
be canon?
What is it?
Gonna be canon?
Can
Is
it
it
be
going to
again?
be
What?
canon?
So
Oh,
what it's gonna
geez.
be about? It's gonna be a show set in the past about warriors throughout time and history, tracking down dangerous vibranium Wakanda artifacts. So it's kind of before everything we know. So
I'm just wondering if we all have to watch that animated show to understand their newest movie.
I doubt it. It sounds like it's kind of a fucking
A prequel. I don't think you have
it's
to.
a prequel of them collecting their shit back, kind of like when O.J. Simpson broke into the Vegas hotel and wanted his shit back at gunpoint. Same thing.
Exactly the same thing.
Exactly.
Yes.
As a matter of fact, I've seen it.
Absolutely.
I've seen the show. So there you go.
Obviously, it ties in the first Black Panther because didn't what's his name? What's his brother's name?
Fucking
Anyway, he breaks into that museum and he steals the artifacts.
Monger. Something Monger?
Killmonger.
It was his cousin.
Yes.
Cousin
Or his
Bill
cousin,
Monger?
right? His cousin. Yeah, he breaks. So obviously, in order to get those artifacts, they have to have a prequel. We have to know how the artifacts got in the museum, right? So let's do a whole thing about it.
Do we have to have a prequel though?
Apparently,
We
so.
don't.
We don't. No, we don't need more
True,
Wakanda
but-
stuff. We're good.
But
You shouldn't have left Black Panther. You should have just recast it. You screwed that.
they should have recasted T'Challa. Absolutely,
They totally screwed that up. Yeah.
they did.
All right, well, in movies this week, Wonka. Anybody interested in seeing Wonka starring Timothy Chalamet and Hugh Grant about how Willy Wonka started his business in the chocolate factory or whatever? No, nobody.
I know I'm interested. I'm just not going to the movies, so I'll
Well,
wait.
no, you
No,
shouldn't.
that voice you're not.
Spreader.
Yeah, I'm like,
What are
what
you
would you say,
doing?
sir? Speak
Are
up,
you
sir.
trying to start World War Z?
Sir,
Stay
where's your
home.
wife? Where's your wife? Can you come
Yeah.
get her buy tickets, please?
Yeah. Yeah. We got somebody half dead in the aisle over here. So, also-
apparently, apparently the director sent. I don't know how he got these photos, but apparently he sent nude photos of Oompa Loompas to Hugh Grant.
nude photo, like the original Oompa Loompas?
I have no idea. I'm guessing probably AI nude photos of Oompa
I was gonna
Loompas.
say
but-
real Oompa Loompas?
Yeah.
right.
Like, what happened now?
So
So what was the point of that?
no idea.
Okay. Well, there we go.
No idea.
All
Why
right.
would Hugh
Yeah,
Grant
what
want
category
these
of porn does that fall into?
Yeah.
Like
I need to know.
midget porn? Oh,
Yeah.
here we go.
Real quick, Killers of the Flower Moon came out streaming, starring Leonardo DiCaprio, Robert De Niro, about the Osage Indians and how they struck for oil in their land. And the plot was somebody had a plot to kill them all off and take their land and their money based on a true story. 3.5 hours. I've seen it. Don't waste your time. All right. It's so boring. And you know everything. Everything. You know what's coming. There's no surprise. It's just whatever. It's nothing fantastic. So
Is it
Killers of
based
the
off
Flower
of
Moon.
anything? Based off a true story?
it's a true
or-
story. It's a true
Oh,
story.
is it? Okay.
True
True
story in a very popular book.
Oh,
Yeah, it's a
very
true
good
story.
book.
It's just when you see it, there's no surprise to anything at all. You won't be surprised by anything. It's kind of boring.
Is there a character in there named Flower Moon?
No.
Okay.
No,
Because
no.
you know how like when you watch like The Lone Survivor, you're like, oh, I wonder what's gonna happen. I'm pretty sure there's one lone survivor. So
No,
if there was
no.
someone named Flower Moon, then I'm sure it would.
They explain what the flower moon means.
Okay.
It's not significant. I can tell you that. So it's like whatever. It's just whatever. Scorsese, people treat him like he's God. What can I say? All right, we'll take a break here in Nerds Talking the Podcast. When we come back, Mike Ricksecker will be joining us. We'll be talking about travels through time. Join us on the other side here on Nerds Talking the Podcast.
Leadership, the final frontier. These are the voyages of the Starfleet Leadership Academy. Its ongoing mission to develop leaders through Star Trek, to boldly go where no podcast has gone before. A leadership development podcast told through the lens of Star Trek. Subscribe today, the Starfleet Leadership Academy.
Welcome back to Nerds Talking the Podcast. I'm with Carlos, Johnny, Laura. I'm Lafayette, and we're joined by Mike Ricksecker, the author of the novel, Travels Through Time, his 13th book, and his show, Connecting the Universe on YouTube. Is that right, Mike? Is that what
Yeah,
it's called?
YouTube. Well, it's primarily hosted on the Connected Universe portal. We do have a public side on YouTube, and then we have a whole member side as well for that. So we do have access for the public on that. Yeah.
Awesome. 13 books in. So, is this your first book about time travel or traveling through time in a sense?
Well, I mean, I've mentioned it here and there throughout some of my other books. So, like Alaska's Mysterious Triangle, there's quite a bit of unusual activity up there in Alaska. So there is a chapter on time travel in the Alaska Triangle within that book. So this one is the launching of a new series called Connecting the Universe after my show and podcast and everything. And so I decided to really start from, a sound base of, instead of, because I'm going to be writing a book on Stargates because I have the Stargates of Ancient Egypt tour. I'm going to revisit triangles. I'm going to get into consciousness and all that. But it's like, let's start with, the inner workings of the cosmos. And to do that, when you're talking space time, well, we got to talk about time. We have to talk about, the reality that's around us, how the dimensions work, and these sorts of things.
Yeah, that sounds. I mean, I watched a few YouTubes. I watched a YouTube based on this book. I mean, it's all interesting to me. I mean, I find it fascinating.
Thank you.
I mean, I to be honest, the paradox, the paradox effect, also the shadow people, and so we'll get all into that.
Mhm.
But it's all very interesting. We'll start with Carlos. Carlos, what do you have for Mike? And what do you want to ask him about his book called Travels Through Time?
Well, first, I want to thank you for a movie recommendation. It's in the book, Predestination with Ethan Hawke.
Oh yeah.
I actually saw that today, and man, I got to say that is quite an interesting story. The way the
Mhm.
grandfather paradox, it's like you mentioned in the book. There's no origin for Jane and John. There's no origin.
Yeah, it's
They
the
just
ultimate
loop,
grandfather paradox.
right?
Yeah.
And they continue to loop. Their lives continue to loop, and they can't exist without itself.
Yeah.
Now, what happens after the laundromat? I'm only assuming he does what he said he wasn't going to do, but
He restarts the loop. Yeah, he
right,
continues
he
the cycle
restarts
because
the
he
loop,
tells him
right?
if you do this, you realize this is how it all happens. So
Exactly.
yeah, so they're dancing around with the grandfather paradox, but it's Jane and John. I mean, they're really their own bootstrap paradox.
Right.
Without having that origin. So yeah, it's a movie that really messes with your head. So without giving too much away, I highly recommend people go see it. It will blow your mind. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I didn't want to say too much. One thing I didn't notice though was when Sarah Snook showed up in the bar, I was like, man, she could pass for a young Leo. I thought it was a
Yeah.
young Leo at first.
Kind of the
Like
way
this,
her hair was done.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. And the first time I saw the movie, I'm like, it does make you, question, okay, am I looking at a dude or a girl?
Right. Yeah,
you're
yeah.
you're wondering. So she does a fantastic job with that role.
Yeah.
So I do, for people that do want to go watch it, hang in there. There's a lot of backstory at the beginning, but that sets everything up, and it's like dominoes that start to fall. It's pretty wild.
Yeah. And if anyone looking to watch it, if you have a Roku, it's on Roku channel for free right now.
Cool.
But there was I didn't want to get too far off topic, but the shadow people you mentioned. Now, as myself growing up, I have seen something many times in my life. I was just wondering if you've experienced or know of anyone who has, or this falls under the shadow people. But out of the corner of my eye, now I've looked this up on the internet, and several people around the world have experienced what I have. But out of the corner of my eye, like usually in the corner or on the side or something, is a man in a wide brim hat, all black. You don't see any features. You just know that he's in a wide brim hat, and it's maybe like a long trench coat or something. And it's never threatening either. It's just there. Like last time I saw him, I said, "Oh, you're back." And I kind of talked to him, just said that, and I looked in the corner, and he was gone. But I've seen this several times in my life. Has anyone ever experienced or mentioned it to you? And what do you think that is?
Oh yeah, yeah. I have in my book, A Walk in the Shadows, I cover a number of these different types of stories. So, two things there. One, I mean, you're talking about the man in the hat, or what people call the Hat Man, and you're also talking about averted vision there. So, being able to see something out of the corner of your eye, out of your periphery. Stargazers will use that. It's like when a comet's going overhead, people will, instead of looking straight at it, because you're able to capture more light through your periphery than you are straight on. Your eyes are made of rods and cones that are situated in your eye in such a way that Your high definition is straight on, but you capture light differently from the side. And you can actually see a little bit into the infrared out of your periphery. And so that's why, yeah, you'll see something out of the corner of your eye. You'll turn and look, and it seems like it's gone, but it's not really gone. It's actually still there. You're just capturing it differently now, straight on, than from the side. And so, um, yeah, this sounds like from your description, this one is more of like the watcher observer kind. So not really threatening. And that's, when we talk shadow people, there's a lot of misinformation out there. So some people will try to say, oh, shadow people are the, most evil of all the different beings, or the darkest of the dark, et cetera, et cetera. And yeah, sure, there are some nasty ones out there, some more nefarious ones. But really, most are just like the watching, observing kind, just standing there staring. Sure, it's a little disconcerting for most people because you didn't invite them in. They're kind of intruding and that sort of thing. But generally, they're harmless if you don't mind, somebody kind of hanging out with you a little bit. And some are actually benevolent with that, have actually done things to help people. And so, my book, A Walk in the Shadows, really breaks all of that down.
Yeah, and I saw your episode of Ancient Aliens as well, where you talk
Mhm.
about the shadow people. And a lot of them there, I mean, the one person, the journalist, I think, he was totally freaked out. He was scared of these things. And I'm just
Yeah.
wondering if, because you said some people think they're just totally threatening, but do you feel that the majority of them are threatening, or like you said, just observers?
The majority are observers. You have, of course, the polar opposite, or the polar ends of that, where some are going to be nasty, evil, nefarious, and others are going to be benevolent, kind. But most fall into that gray area in the middle. And I think a lot of times it's just coming to an understanding of what exactly it is that we're experiencing. Because like my first real significant paranormal experience was with a shadow person that actually didn't show that story on Ancient Aliens. I told everybody else's story except
Oh,
mine, but they had me talk about a lot of stuff.
just the
Um,
pizzeria story?
no, that's a different one,
Okay.
but yeah, that was an interesting story. So yeah, you've been doing some research on me. I appreciate that. But the first one, first significant paranormal experience was, I woke up in the middle of the night, and there's, a tall, dark shadow standing in the corner. I'm about like 8 years old. And of course, I have no idea about, shadow people or shadow beings or anything like that at that time. I'm thinking that somebody's broken into the house. They're there to rob the place or kill me, because that's where your mind goes when you're 8 years old. Fortunately, I'm still alive to tell the tale, which is great. But it did get physically interactive with me, where it approached my bed and I'm trying to scream. Nothing's coming out of my mouth because I'm a little kid. I'm terrified. And it leans over. I'm staring into this blank black face. There's nothing there. No eyes, no nose, nothing at all. And it grabs me by the wrists, crosses my arms across my body, runs off down the hall. And so I finally find my voice from my legs, run off to my parents' bedroom, screaming about what had happened. And they're trying to calm me down, console me, trying to tell me that I had just had a bad dream. But I knew I hadn't had a bad dream. I was awake for this whole thing. So fast forward a number of years, I've had other shadow experiences since then as a paranormal investigator, but also another house that I moved into, where a very, very different experience, where it wasn't interactive at all. It was translucent. It just would always run away whenever you'd look at the thing. And my mom had seen the thing too, so it wasn't like just me. But I always wanted to get back to that first experience and find out what exactly happened. Because talking with other people, networking over a number of years, talking with other researchers, people had some other ideas for me than other than just the thing was evil and trying to scare a little kid or whatever, which again kind of doesn't make sense. Why would it just be in my room to scare me? But some people suggested, well, maybe it thought you were dead, like something out of ancient Egypt with the crook and flail, and it was putting you into
Right.
a burial pose, that sort of thing. It's like, okay, that's interesting. But it made me think, okay, maybe there's another explanation for this. So I went through a hypnotic regression. I got together with a certified hypnotherapist who had trained under Dolores Cannon, and got to the root of what this thing really was. So enter into this hypnosis session. And what was really fascinating about it was, instead of taking right back to that particular incident, and instead of seeing it from my perspective, I actually saw it from the perspective of the shadow. So it was like I was in the corner looking down at myself, my 8-year-old self. So she was actually channeling this being. this entity, all the way back to that moment. And another fascinating aspect of this was that I could feel its emotions too. So when, you know, all of a sudden I'm looking down at myself, and you know, the my little 8-year-old self starts to scream, you know, I felt bad. You know, like, oh, this is terrible. So this being didn't realize that I could see it. It thought it came in there invisible, and it felt bad that it was scaring me. So the whole crossing my arms, it was trying to put me into a self hug. I got to see another perspective of it where it kind of patted my wrists, like kind of a reassuring, and then got out of there so that it would no longer be scaring me. So the hypnotherapist Ariana's, you know, following up with some different questions, because she's actually, again, she's channeling this being. She's actually talking to it and asking questions like, you know, why were you there? Who are you? Where are you from? That sort of stuff. And basically, what we got out of this session was that this was another entity, another type of, it was not human. It was there to study humanity. Again, kind of watch, observe, that sort of thing. And his assignment that night happened to be, you know, the bedroom of a little boy, you know, watch the little human child. Oh, the most fascinating question though was the whole, where are you from?
It's like
And
a
it's that,
sketch assignment.
yeah.
Bedroom of a little boy.
There you go. Exactly. And it said, well, I'm from another space, which is a really kind of cryptic answer. And so Ariana asked, well, do you mean another dimension? And it responded with, well, you might think it's another dimension, but really it's another space. So it kind of gives us this idea that, you know, we still don't quite understand the inner workings of our universe, and, you know, what we call a dimension really is. But it was from, you know, somewhere else beyond our, you know, known reality.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. I think that's the shadow people are very interesting, because like the way you explain it, you know, kind of like you said, another dimension, right? It's like people outside of our dimension, you know, visiting you in some regard. It's people see it as ghosts. Oh man, they're ghosts. They're gonna get me, like you said, but not necessarily. Yeah, I think that's all interesting. And dreams, like I was gonna ask, like, how do they play a part in time? Like, you know,
Yeah.
how would you say dreams relate to time?
Well, I mean, dreams can be a number of different things. You know, sometimes they can be our subconscious, you know, playing out some of our, you know, worries, or, you know, even things that we're excited about. You know, they'll play out in our dreams. But sometimes, because we enter into these different brainwave states when we're asleep and we're dreaming, sometimes our consciousness is able to uh, traverse the cosmos. Really, it's able to traverse to other moments in time and get a glimpse of something else that's going to play out in the future. So, you know, we'll call that a, you know, a premonition or a premonitory dream, that sort of thing. And, you know, we'll come back and it's like, oh, okay, that was an interesting dream. And then a day, a week, a month later, or whatever, it suddenly plays out. Like, whoa, I just had a dream about that. So that can be certainly a form of time travel. And another thing that we can do while we dream is we can tap into, I call it eternal knowledge. Carl Jung had his collective unconscious. You know, some people talk about the Akashic records, but basically it's knowledge that is out there that you can tap into and bring down here to Earth. And sometimes, you know, people are able to tap into that and get these kind of like eureka moment ideas, or, you know, they'll just start doing something the next day, and somebody will ask, well, where'd you get that idea? I'm like, I don't know, it just kind of came to me. So when we enter into these different brainwave states, we can tap into this knowledge that is available to us.
Well, Johnny, any questions for Mike?
Well, I was listening to one of your podcasts, and I was disappointed to know that you time travel didn't include a flux capacitor or a hot tub time machine. So,
Darn it.
but
Yeah.
yeah, but
It'd be
but
fun.
as far as the shadow people versus ghost, I mean, do you believe in ghosts, or do you think they're a form of a shadow person? Or, I mean,
So,
do people
yeah,
mistake
I mean,
one and the same?
well, it's a good question, because, you know, sometimes they are. You know, sometimes these shadows are human spirits that can't fully manifest as an apparition and appear to us as a ghost. The shadows can be a number of different types of things because it's the way that our eyes are perceiving that type of energy. You know, our eyes only see into a very, very narrow uh, band of the full spectrum. And so you could have, you know, a human spirit that's, you know, trying to manifest, doesn't do it fully. We see that. Could be some sort of interdimensional being that we just don't have the physiology to be able to see it properly. It could be a some sort of time slip or what have you. Could be an extraterrestrial. So there's a lot of different things that these can possibly be. And you know, I've had an occasion one time, well, myself and five others, or I should say four others, or five of us, where we actually saw shadow smoke morph into the apparition of a little girl. So you know, we're seeing both smoke and shadow at the same, or smoke and apparition at the same time. You know, it's pretty fascinating what you can discover in this universe. You know, some of these ghosts that we're seeing are not, you know, your classic ghosts, you know, human spirit sort of thing. Some of them are actually, you know, they could be somebody astral projecting. They can be, again, a time slip playing out in front of us. We're actually seeing another moment in time. And that other moment in time looks at us and acknowledges us and looks at us almost like we are the ghosts. You know, that does happen on occasion.
So would you put time slipping and mirror verse? Would you say they're one and the same, or they just kind of fall in the same category?
What's interesting about that is because yeah, our science is starting to tell us, and there's a lot of skeptics that are like, I don't know, but there's, you know, published papers out there now that we have a parallel universe running in reverse time. So, so what would something like that look like? You know, would it look like a mirrorverse sort of thing? And is that when you know, we see something, you know, totally play out in front of us, like a whole scene that almost seems like you know, some ghostly apparition, but you know, we're seeing a Victorian mansion, and here's, you know, a woman coming down the stairs right in front of us, and maybe there had been a mansion there, or maybe we're in it, and it's just a historic moment that's happening, and we get to see a whole scene play out. You know, is it that, you know, mirror universe that we're seeing? So that's a whole rabbit hole to go down. But if we are running in one direction and that one is running in the opposite, that means the end of our time, the end of our universe is the beginning of theirs. So it's this constant cycle around and around and around. And I believe when you have that beginning and end meeting like that, and that is actually where our Big Bang comes from. So what was before the universe? The universe. What comes after the universe? The universe again. It's this constant recycle renewal. And we see that in our ancient symbolism, like the Ouroboros, the snake eating its own tail, going back to predestination again. You know, around and around and around we go.
So I've always said that pardon my voice. I'm
Sure.
dealing
You're
with some
fine.
stuff right now.
Yeah.
I've always said that word Ouroboros, but I've also heard it said Ouroboros. Is there any consensus on what's right?
You'll find most people call it Ouroboros. I believe that's the proper pronunciation, but I have
Okay.
heard it said the other way as well. So yeah, I'm not going to fault anybody for it because it's not a common word.
I was first introduced to that concept in pop culture in Red Dwarf. I don't know if you've ever
I
watched
haven't.
that show, old
Mm-mm.
school British sci-fi.
Okay.
Um, but I saw a lot of intersection of that concept in modern pop culture, looking at like True Detective season one. The uh, what is it? Everything happens before happens again.
Hmm.
Just, the flow of time. It's just very interesting about how pop culture picks up on all that and collective unconscious, like you said.
Yeah, it's you know, what I love about popular culture and sci-fi and all of that is it explores these different concepts. So it starts to make us think about the nature of our universe and our traditional scientists, in many cases, will kind of just scoff at it. Well, that's sci-fi. That's make believe. That's just some sort of fiction story. That's a gimmick, storytelling gimmick. And the fascinating part about that is, while maybe that's true in that moment to be able to tell a story, a lot of these ideas get us thinking, and all of a sudden we end up developing the technology to make some of these different things happen. So you look at it like our older sci-fi, look back at some old Star Trek or Star Wars, or some of these other movies and shows, and those were kind of like, oh, that'd be cool, that'd be fun, and now we have that stuff. So so that type of storytelling really gets the human mind working, which is fantastic.
And real quick, Mike, this is one of those categories that I've only seen in shows and movies and whatnot. How did you get your start in this? I mean, was it when you were young and you saw the shadow person, or just over time? Like, this is a pretty big rabbit hole to jump into.
It kind of is. I mean, that incident when I was 8 was certainly very influential, because I really had no idea what happened. When we moved from that house, and that wasn't a haunted house or anything, it was kind of a one-off incident. The next house that we moved into had a lot more going on, and there were other shadows that we were seeing there. And we ended up calling him Tom, because he, kind of peep in the room, like peeping Tom. Hi, Tom, and off he'd go. But yeah, a couple of different things. For one, as far as the writing, I've been writing since I was in second grade, writing all kinds of stories and little books. I even wrote historic fiction, if you can imagine that, as a 7-year-old. But I did. The paranormal supernatural part of it was, I had my first little, I didn't know what it was. It was 1989, and we didn't know anything about paranormal investigations and ghost hunting. We had In Search of with Leonard Nimoy, and that was about it. There weren't all these ghost hunting shows and stuff like we have today. But my best friend David and I essentially were investigating our friend Lori's house, because she thought our house was haunted, and so we're going to check it out. And her concern with this was primarily her room. It's an old historic house, cemetery out in the backyard, all this stuff that she was talking about. But every time that she would tack up something on this wall, like posters and stuff like that, we're teenagers, it would always fall down, an hour, a day, a week later. She couldn't keep anything up on this wall. So she thinks her wall is haunted. There's other things that happened in the house too. But hey, because we're up there taking a look at the wall, she's telling us more stories. And David put his hand flat to the wall like that. And all of a sudden he turned this bright red, started sweating profusely. I'm looking at David like, oh my gosh, what in the world's going on with my friend? I'd never seen this before. I had no idea what was going on. So he starts going like wall to wall in the house, trying to find the kind of quote unquote hot spots. And that was the moment that I knew. I didn't know what it was that we were doing, but that was the moment that I knew that some way, shape, or form, I was going to be involved with this type of research for the rest of my life. And as far as like the esoteric, more ancient side, doing all the Egypt tours and all that, that was kind of back to back there. Yeah, the Mysteries of the Sphinx documentary with Robert Schoch and John Anthony West. Charlton Heston was the host for that, which basically redated the Sphinx. And then it was, like the very next year, the movie Stargate came out. And that just kind of like, set my mind afire, and I went down that route as well. So I had like these two different roads that I was simultaneously driving down. Yeah.
Okay. And then I have to ask you this question to for your credibility. Is the Earth flat?
I do not believe the Earth is flat. No.
Okay.
It's
all right.
It's
So
a
Mike
small
is
blue marble.
Yeah, he's an A+ guest right now. A+.
Yeah. We should have asked you that at the beginning, and I apologize, but
No, what I would like to see, this is what I want to see happen. I would love this is, we have all these, reality shows and stuff out there right now. Reality show of put a bunch of flat earthers on a boat and have them go find the end of the world.
Absolutely.
Oh,
Absolutely.
they'd be in the time loop. Let's just never end.
And then,
I would watch the shit out of that.
Yeah.
and then I guess it
That'd
depends
be
on what
fun.
channel. Like they're either going to be super hot or like super dumb or like all naked. You
That
know,
is
like,
true. If it's Fox, they're all hot.
All
right?
three, all
Yeah.
three, hot, naked, dumb.
Just hot, naked, dumb.
Yeah.
Or just
and
hot people?
parolees.
You got
That'd be the
Just
name of the
to throw
show,
one
right?
in.
hot, naked,
Right.
dumb, flat.
Naked dumb.
Just let's do some rapid fire. Explain to people the Anita project, which I find fascinating that you explained when I heard you talk about it.
Yeah, Anita Project. That's where we were talking about the parallel universe running in reverse time. That's the project that came out of that and the Ice Cube project. So basically, they're down there in Antarctica studying neutrinos, which basically are coming from space. And they actually just released the whole thing in here, like an image of our solar system using the neutrino information, but they were also detecting neutrinos coming up out of the Earth without an origin, which was absolutely bizarre to them. And so these scientists taking that data came back with, this is indicative of a parallel universe running in reverse time.
Can I clarify and ask what the fuck is a neutrino?
Yeah, these are, yeah.
I'm not the only one, right? I can't be the only one. I don't know what that means.
No, I've heard this term on Star Trek or something before. I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah, I mean, these are basically cosmic particles that basically float around through space and have a lot of data about the early formation of the solar system. And I mean, I'm a writer. I'm not a scientist, so I don't know all the particulars of how to study those. So I kind of just know the basic idea of what they are supposed to be. But yeah, they're able to get a lot of information about how our solar system was formed through these particles.
Okay. Johnny, got something for me?
I don't know. He
You
answered
look like
everything that
You had
I-
this look on your face, like no. Stat time theory. That's another thing. You can explain that to the audience, because that's also fascinating, the different dimensions and how the fifth dimension that we can't necessarily get to, but explain that to the audience.
Yeah, so stack time theory. So you have to kind of take a step back and kind of understand, okay, what is time? Time is a human construct. It's an idea, concept that we've come up with to help keep track of our reality. So when to plant the crops, when to go to the bus stop so you can get there at the right moment, or show up to work at the right moment so your supervisor doesn't get upset with you. It keeps track of stuff for us. But the idea of stacked time theory is, if time doesn't really exist, if it's all here concurrently, and this actually gets into like Einstein's idea of the block universe. So this gets into, I'm jumping around a little bit here because we're getting limited on time, I guess. But to understand the dimensions, time, what we call time, is the fourth dimension. Now, which is really our consciousness. That's what the fourth dimension is, and we're able to experience everything below that. So 3, 2, 1, three-dimensional object, 2 dimensional is just kind of like flat. 1 dimension's a line, that sort of thing. Everything above that, 5, 6, 7, 8, they're there. Our theoretical physics tells us that we have up to 11 of those. So what would that look like to those that are in those other dimensions? Well, time would look like an object to them, which again tells us that all time is concurrent. It's all whole from these other perspectives from other dimensions. So all time is concurrent if it's all there at the same time. So take where you're sitting right now. Every moment that has happened, is happening, and will happen, all happening concurrently. All of those moments are like a photo, all stacked on top of each other. And there are occasions on which 2 of those moments, because everything's energy, resonance, frequency, vibration. And there are occasions in which 2 of those moments, 2 of those photos in the stack will resonate at the same frequency, and you'll get a glimpse of another. And that's what we'd call a time slip. It might look to us, like a ghost or an apparition, maybe some of these shadows or something like that. But in a lot of cases, they are these time slips.
Now, does this this brings to mind, I think you said it in your book, where is it the idea that everything is happening all at once, like our
Yes.
lives are happening all at once?
Mm-hmm.
And once I read that, I was like, well, that reminds me of the movie Arrival.
Oh, yeah.
It's
Yeah.
exactly like that. Everything's happening exactly. It's funny how all these theories and all these everything we hear about, and everybody should know about it because there's so much of it in pop culture, whether we know it or not. It just appears everywhere. Like,
Yeah,
for
those-
example, you bring up the Tesseract, right? Marvel bring up the Tesseract. Time slipping is brought up in Tesseract as well. I mean, not in Marvel. Marvel brings up time slipping. And it's funny when Laura mentioned Ouroboros, because that's the name of a character also in Marvel. So there's so much going on around us. It's not all the same. Obviously, they take their liberties in what they're doing with
Oh,
it.
sure. Yeah.
But it's funny
And
how it's
Hill
just,
House. Hill House, by the way, is all about
really?
time
Okay.
and how it's all stacked as well.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's just some of these things are just, I mean, check out Mike's book. It's absolutely amazing. The stuff in it is so fascinating. Mike, tell us where we can find your book.
Yeah, absolutely. You can find me MikeRicksecker.com. You can find the links to all my books there. I mean, they're available, Amazon, Barnes and Noble, all those sites, and you might be able to find it in your brick and mortar store. If not, they can order it for you if you like to buy things the old school way. You can also check me out, connecteduniverseportal.com. That's a online learning site that I've put together. And I say that, but really it's a community of like-minded people that have come together to talk about these topics. I have a whole bunch of content that's out there. And if people want to come along and do the Stargate stuff in Egypt, I have tours out there to Egypt. Next one is in April.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Couple of final questions. Would you say deja vu is how would you put that in? What category?
Yeah, that's again, it's another we're getting a glimpse of another moment in time. So here we'll kind of twist your head a little bit here. So, one occasion of deja vu could very well, be from when we're sleeping. Maybe it's something that we've dreamt, and it's just a fragment that remains. Because a lot of times, we don't remember everything that we dreamt at night. I mean, we only have bits and pieces, and so it might be a fragment left over from that. But it was you, traveling to another point in time and observing it. Or we're talking about all time being concurrent. Every single moment is here with us. Well, if you also happen to believe in reincarnation as well, that means every single one of your past lives and your future lives are also here, alive right now. So a deja vu could very well be you walking into a room or a building in which one of your past or future lives is also at the same moment.
Oh no, it's fast. A deja vu is fascinating. I mean, I will literally go into a place and I'll be like, damn it, this shit already happened. Like, this is so familiar to me. And it's a lot. It's not like people once or twice, I probably can say I've probably had deja vu 20 plus times, right? And I'll be like, damn it, I knew you were gonna say that. Like,
Yeah.
what? Oh, okay. Yep. I time slipped, son of a bitch. Like,
There you go.
I did it. Oh, I marveled that one. Yeah, I mean, you have a lot simulated universe, I think, is fascinating. Like, you have so many things in this book that are so fascinating but like Carlos said, very familiar to everyday people, but to them it's just, oh, I saw that in the movie. It's not, that's just an idea in a movie, but it's all fascinating. I mean, the book is fascinating. Check it out. Travels Through Time by Michael Ricksecker. Mike, you got to come back on because there's so much more to talk about.
Just hit me up and we'll set it up. Yeah,
there's so much more to talk about. This stuff is to me, I'm fascinated by that. We talked about this before on our show. We've talked about time and how it works, and how we think it works, and of course you've studied it, so we're over here just like, time works like this, but we think it works this way, and then you come on like, no, idiots, it works like this. Like, damn it, he wrote books. I never wrote a book about time.
It's usually something like, I should go back in time and tell myself that carbs are bad, or
there you go. Yeah. You don't want to eat that or drink that.
Well, Yeah.
Well, yeah.
You know,
Why
ti-
didn't my
you-
future life slap a sandwich out of my hand while I'm making it? Stop
you know,
that.
I just
That's right.
I just yell into the air, future self, don't be an idiot. And they're like, damn it, I hope that catches up. Like, but Mike, seriously, thanks for coming on.
Yeah.
It's been fantastic. It's been, like I said, it's fascinating. You definitely have to come back on. We'll
Mhm.
talk more and about your other books too, not just this one,
Yeah.
but your other books that because I know you've been to the Conjuring house,
Correct.
and someone that has lived in that house and experienced everything that happened in that house, and that's a fascinating topic to me. We'll definitely have to catch up on that one. But thanks
Definitely.
again for coming on, Michael. It's been great. Michael Ricksecker, like I said, check out his book, Travels Through Time, available now everywhere you can get books. And we'll be right back after this on Nerds Talking the Podcast.
你正在听白痴的播客。我简直不敢相信这些小抽竟然有表演。他们可能认为我在谈论中国文化活动漫，但不，我让你知道，这些人中只有一个很酷，那就是拉斐特。另一个叫卡洛斯的家伙可能几乎不说话，如果他说话，他可能会说某人是愚蠢的。然后是约翰呢，他正处于中年危机之中，需要你的说明。请把你的想法和祈祷送给他的废屁股。罗拉是这群人中的最后一个人，他很酷。这也是你正在听的节目，希望你喜欢他。树说话不会节目。
Welcome back to Nerds Talking the Podcast. I have Carlos, Johnny, Laura, and I'm Lafayette. And we just had Michael Ricksecker on talking about time. And we've explained time to you before. And I'm pretty sure how I explained it was similar, if not more in depth.
I don't think what you said was what he said.
Are you sure?
There was no talk of moon or stars or suns.
And you think that's the fault of the guest or the genius of the host? I mean, just want to throw it out there because
I mean, I'm gonna point a finger and you tell me where it's.
Oh, it's pointing at Johnny, I think. I don't.
No, it is.
definitely-
The thing about
like-
this is because we're on Zoom, you guys have different boxes than me. So Carlos was pointing at no one. Not okay, Johnny. Okay, he's pointing at Johnny now. Okay, it's Johnny.
Oh, am I?
Okay, it's
Who's
Johnny.
this? Who's over
Now-
here?
That's Laura. Now you're pointing at Laura.
Then
yeah.
who's over here?
No one's above you. You're missing one
Then
spot.
you're over
Nope.
here then.
Nope. You suck at everything. Time is the way I explained it. Thank you.
So on
Thank
my
you.
screen, you're here. Johnny's
Okay.
here.
You're just saying
Laura's
here.
over
Nobody
here.
can see you. You're just saying the word here. You're
I
assuming
know.
people can see. Oh my god.
Laura,
Anyway,
have you ever
time-
seen any shadow people?
Yeah, you know what? Have you ever seen shadow people, Laura? You better not say what I think
no.
you're gonna say. Okay, good.
No, I haven't.
Lafayette?
No.
My husband
well,
has though, and I believe his stories because somebody else saw it at the same time that he did.
Oh, I have been to a BLM protest.
When? Oh,
Shut the fuck up! Don't get me canceled. I got a new job, motherfucker. Shut up.
Wait, hold on. You have a new job?
Yeah.
Oh, what are you doing now?
Voiceover
shit.
work.
Same shit, a different company. Voiceover work
We're
for the
smoking
for
anti-smoking
smoking commercials.
commercials.
Don't vape.
And then he
If
was
you
like,
vape, it's the
Helen.
same as smoking. Yeah. With the hole in her neck.
Hole in the trach.
Oh, did I ever tell you about that guy who like found my wallet? Like, I went to like a hardware store or something like that, and I left my wallet there, and he like tracked me down like the same day, and I was like, he like showed up at the backyard gate, and I was like, hey, how's it going? Can I help you? He's like, so he puts a box to his neck. Are you Johnny? I was like, what the fuck is going on here? And
Terminator? Are you here for me? What?
Yeah.
Are you from the future?
Did you ask him? Do computer love. Do it. Come on.
Peaches and
I will tell you, when you hear that robot voice, you get
think of
frozen.
South
You're
Park.
like,
What did
Oh.
you do? Were you like, you Rudy Poo candy
Yeah.
ass?
Yeah.
You Kane from WWE? Get out of
Remember
here.
that shit? That's right.
That was so funny. No, he's like, I found your wallet. Here you go. I was like, oh, well, thanks, man. I appreciate it. Can
Can I
I
buy you a pack of
offer you a
cigarettes?
reward?
Yeah.
Some batteries.
You need a nicotine
this.
patch? What are you looking for, buddy?
But it scared me, and I was very thankful. And then I was like, man, I was
You
kind
could
of
have said, they're coming right for us.
And then he
That's-
shows up again the next
Can
day.
you play?
Come with
Do
me
you
if
want
you
to play
want
a
to
game?
live.
Yeah. Don't make fun of these people. They have a permanent handicap because they smoke and that's what they get. Boom. Now I just reversed it on them.
When Mike was talking about shadow people and some of them are watchers, I was like somebody whoever got my assignment just fucking like quit like that day. Because they like fucking, all right, I'm just gonna watch him. It's like noon. Why the fuck is he watching Pornhub again? Shit, this is all this guy does.
I love how there's the one shadow guy though that wants to be reassigned to you. They're like, nope.
Yeah.
Come on, no,
No,
sorry.
because the last guy went missing. He's hiding somewhere. He's watching his own porn now. Johnny got him addicted.
He's a permanent shadow. He doesn't want to come out.
Shadowhub.com.
From
No,
the
I just
future.
feel bad. Like I mean, I shave twice a week, but the other thing, I do more. So like, what's his notebook like? Did the same thing again.
Yeah, he goes back.
I don't know
every
why I'm
night.
using a robot voice. Did same thing
Because they all
over
have
and
voice
over.
box, all shadow people. No, I can't tell you I've seen a shadow person, like a AKA apparition or go. If you look in the book and everything, it really is apparitions, as ghosts and so forth. And it's explained as stacked dimensions. And those people are just passing through in some regard. And it made sense to me because explanation of ghosts are usually religious based, right? In some regard. So when I read that or saw that, let's just say I saw the YouTube video. I'm like, that makes sense. It makes sense. Like, if you had to explain it, it made sense to me. Like, so, but, again, he's looked into it way more than me. So when someone tells me that, I'm like, you know what? That works. I'll take it at face value. Like, you know what? I got nothing. So sure.
Yeah, but when I read the Mirrorverse and then I read the chapter on time slipping in the Conjuring house, how they saw a family sitting in the living room, and then the family that they saw them as ghosts. And when the family turned to look at them, one of them said, "Well, would you look at that?" And then they disappeared, almost as if they saw the people looking at them as ghosts, which made me think of the whole Mirrorverse thing. I'm like, that is absolutely fascinating. I've never thought of it that way, where when you look through if you catch a glimpse of it, when you look through it, you're a ghost to them, they're a ghost to you, because you can't see clearly through the dimension, right? So it just gives me a whole different perspective of it's not, kind of opens you up to different ideas, except for flat Earth. I will never.
But it ruins
ever.
my time theory. I never talked about stacked dimensions. I just said time keeps going. So I don't know.
You said time is linear, and the sun and the moon tell you.
Yeah. Well, the sun and the moon is just, again, sun and moon again. It doesn't
right.
mean anything.
No,
it's just like Mike said. Mike said time is just basically a concept of a calendar for you to keep track of shit. It doesn't mean anything.
It doesn't exist.
Doesn't exist. It just keeps going. Like, it doesn't matter.
The reason we have daylight saving time is because Chuck Norris woke up an hour late one year.
That is why we have the daylight savings time.
No,
yes.
I heard that too.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Chuck Norris wrote a diary. It's called the Guinness Book of World Records. Fucking don't get me started on Chuck Norris. But Laura, anything from that you might want to take away, or you like have an experience, or anything that you're like, that part is fascinating, or didn't think about it in that regard.
It's all interesting. It's all interesting as a concept. The problem is, how do we know? We're never gonna know. It's gonna be hundreds of years before we know any of this stuff, because we don't have the math, the science to explore it, and it's all just conceptual. And it's very interesting to think about what might be. But yeah, there's no way to know. We just kind of just play around with it in our own brains for a while.
He didn't get to explain, which I brought it up, and when he comes back on, I want to talk to him about it. But when he talks about simulated universe, right? You guys probably saw that or read about it. I assume Carlos read about it. It's basically like saying your life is logging into a game, and you play it until it ends, and you log out, then you go right back to like the fifth dimension, and and that's where you're at, right? Like it's a religious thing too. You're just passing through till you get to meet Jesus. You know what I mean? You're just playing this out until you're like, oh, hey, why didn't you just put me here in the first place? Nah, it's a lot of fun for you to just, do your thing with your freedom.
No, you got to level up, Bubby.
That's what it is too. You have to level up. That's what it is. You need to get those XP points.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. That is. You can buy XP. Oh, you can't really buy XP here. You kind of sort of can. Maybe.
Kinda.
If you're
Pharmaceuticals.
rich. That's true. Oh, Zepic. Yeah, I heard that's been doing some magic for people.
You know, speaking of leveling up, I bought the Backbone. It's
What is that?
You bought a backbone? It's about fucking time.
I got
That
a
is-
spine.
Yeah.
Stand up for myself. No.
Congratulations.
No, it's a thing that you like put your phone into, and it's like a handheld like gaming system.
Oh yes, that thing is cool as
Oh,
shit.
like a joystick, like a controller.
yeah.
Controller.
But you can like play your PS5 from your phone.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
cool.
yeah. You can play the cloud.
But there's like so many different fucking networks and subscriptions. Like I'm all on the free stuff right now, and I'm very bad about canceling stuff. So I feel like I'm going to be losing a lot of money soon. I'm just like signing up for like, because to play this game or to play that game, I have to sign up for either Apple Arcade or
Oh, that's $4 a month.
yeah.
You know what you need? A solution is Game Pass on Microsoft. Just download the app, play everything you want through the cloud. Boom.
But he has
It's
a
free
PS5.
with ads coming soon.
Yeah, I got a PS5.
No, but he can still has Game Pass. He doesn't have to have an Xbox to have Game Pass.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Though,
he's got an Xbox.
Oh, it's just a Microsoft-based deal.
Yeah.
Oh,
You
does
play
work for
everything
your
on the cloud.
PC? Yeah.
What does that?
Oh,
What does that have to do with time
cloud-based.
travel?
Got
I
you.
don't-
Got you.
What?
no, we
Okay.
were talking about
Back to the Future. What?
No, we weren't. No one brought up
Oh.
Back to the Future. Not one person.
Maybe that was a shadow person that said that in my ear.
This now a shadow person took over the show for Johnny. I was talking about the backbone. Like, where'd you come from? Like again, he talks about UFO abductions in his book. Talks about ESP. You know, he talks about even is time travel even possible? Which
ESPs, that's where you're reading other people's minds, or
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
it's also the mediums that the cops hire just to solve no crimes. Yeah. those folks. You know what?
To
That's
my-
that,
to my
that there
knowledge.
is fascinating to me.
You know what?
to
Hold
my
on. I
knowledge,
want to ask Johnny
we've
about
never,
this. Yeah.
we've never had
You never
hired
hired one?
a medium to be
You tell
like,
me that's just TV bullshit?
I bet yes.
I used to watch that.
Have
show,
they ever brought
Patricia
a dog
Arquette.
in the court
No,
or a parrot? They were witnesses to the murder, so the parrot saw something.
I listened to a podcast about it that they do occasionally do it, and it's never really come to fruition. But people are just, police departments are desperate enough, and they have enough people volunteering. Sometimes they'll take them up on it.
Oh, when there's like a really famous murder, people call in. I had a dream. Oh yeah, she's at this location. Then they go to the pizza parlor for Pizza
Yeah,
Gate. No one's
they'll
there, but they order
follow up
pizza.
on
and-
it.
Well worth the trip. Extra large.
Yeah.
It's like I was watching.
I be lying all the time. Like, dude, they said it's at Popeyes. I swear to God. Anyone want anything?
Yeah. Anyone need anything? I'm going in and out. They murdered someone there. Really? Well, maybe. What do you want?
No, donut shop next door. I'll go with you. I'll go. With you.
That's a stereotype.
That's like
It's a 100% accurate
It is though.
description.
The way he
More
said it's
accurate
truth
than
to
hiring the
stereotypes.
medium.
Oh man.
like one Netflix show I was watching, a supposed medium. She did all. That was the funniest shit. She does all her stuff like behind the curtain. Whenever she shows up at a house or you show up at her place, wherever she does it, she has to be behind a curtain. And if you open the curtain while she's in her seance or whatever her thing, she could die.
Oh shit.
Yeah. So don't open the curtain. But the funny thing is, man, hope Mike's not listening to this part.
Wasn't this a docu-series?
Yeah, where
I
she
saw it. Yeah.
ghost
I saw it.
jizz. Ghost
Yeah. I
jizz
saw
will
it.
get
Yeah,
on
I saw the
her.
ghost jizz. The purple ghost jizz.
Yeah.
Yes, I saw it. Yeah. I saw it.
What
Yes.
fucking show is this?
So this show is about life and death. It's about life and death.
Yeah.
And there's like 6 episodes. There's 2 that are so good. They're super fascinating
It's on
about
Netflix?
this. It's
Yeah.
on Netflix. Yeah.
This is
And-
reality based, not actor.
Oh, is this
No.
the one? This isn't the. Is this the one about the celebrity medium?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
And they talk about her, right? And she's in 2 of the episodes, or
No, there's no celebrity medium on this. This is the one where the guy goes around. He interviews like the 12-year-old, and the 12-year-old knows everything
yes.
about this actor from the 50s, like knows his whole entire life,
Yeah, yeah.
everything, his best friends, and yeah, it's fascinating. It's
yeah. So
great.
one of the episodes has
Ghost
ghost
jizz, you're right.
jizz.
Has ghost jizz. Maybe, but you're right. You can't bother her behind the curtain. That's right.
Or
That's
she'll
right.
die. Yeah.
I remember getting to the episode going, "Oh my god, people believe this shit right here,"
Mm.
and they did. The people sign up for it. Yeah,
There used to be a show on maybe A&E or one of those channels where the guy's like, I'm a retired New York detective and I'm working with like this medium here, and she was like this redheaded lady, and so he does the investigating part, interviews and all that, and then she comes in the house and says like, all right,
makes her stuff up.
yeah, this lady drowned in ghost jizz, and then be like, what? New York's crazy, man.
That was his conclusion. New York's crazy.
Yeah.
It's actually played by what's his name?
Tracy Morgan.
Tracy Morgan.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's crazy. Goat jizz. Oh, that's crazy. Yeah, no. I don't think Mike talks about goat jizz in his book. I don't think that happens. But I did want to talk to him about, like I talked about this before, but like near-death experiences where people say they go to the fifth dimension, right? They fly into space and go through this, and then they're on a different planet, and they all of a sudden they're like, this is where I'm supposed to be at, and then they come back to Earth like, oh fuck, which would be kind of what he's talking about. Like he's kind of more or less saying your body's the third dimension, your brain's the fourth dimension, because your thought can process more, it can do more than your body can do. And then the fifth dimension is outside of that plane, and that's where you'll eventually end up. But right now, you got to live in the fourth dimension. You got to suck it up a little bit, okay?
Wouldn't that be crazy if like all the tweakers I run into are like in another dimension, and that's why they're acting the way they're acting?
And they know the
they're
truth.
not full-time.
Yeah, they know the truth,
Yeah.
and then like I'm here like judging them for
Yeah,
not having teeth and shit.
You're the worst.
You don't need teeth where I'm going. You don't need teeth.
You don't make apples, sir.
It's a toothless dimension, son.
The toothless dimension.
I don't know why he talks like that, but
Yeah, why did he talk like that? That's weird. Huh. Shadow people. But yeah. Anything else, Laura? Because, with your sexy voice. I'm pretty sure.
Don't make me talk, man. It hurts.
That's why I'm doing it. I mean, it's just the best voice you could use right now. So, all right. I think that's all we got.
That was
there.
great. He's like, Laura, you have any questions? Well,
yes, I want to talk about
is it pronounced? Yeah.
Is it pronounced Orta Borta Bortis or Babadoo Badabu? That's your question. You had all the time in the world. Boom. And that was your question.
Tomato.
How do you pronounce this, Mike? I know you're not a fucking grammar teacher, but this is the question I fucking got. Anyway, I love it.
It's funny that Johnny brought up the backbone because I got one for free at the now non-existent E3. when I went.
E3.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
that's gone now. What's
But I
going
heard,
on with
why
that?
is it
Or-
gone?
It's just
How come
gone.
It's not a thing.
Because companies do their own thing now.
Oh,
Sony has
they
their
do
own show.
like,
Microsoft does their own show. Nintendo now does their own show. They're like, we don't need that shit. And then those companies go to Microsoft and Sony, like Ubisoft and EA, and be like, hey, we want part of your show. Cool. You'll be just part of our show. And that's pretty much why they don't do it anymore. Which
You guys
E3
ever
is
go to
great.
that?
Twice.
We went 1 year. Yeah. Oh,
I
you went twice? I went once.
Yeah.
I went
Oh, it's great. It's fantastic.
Your brother's been there.
I
he was
think
there.
I know he's talked about it before. I haven't asked him.
Oh, he
like,
was there when we were there. I saw
He
him
was there when we were there.
He
We
saw
got him
Snoop
in,
Dogg.
right?
Yeah. He saw Snoop Dogg.
Yeah.
Did we get him in?
We did. Yeah.
No, we did
got
get
him
him in. We got him.
We got him in. And that's where good old our cousin won the Gears of
The
War.
Gears of
tournament.
War tournament.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did he
so-
get any prize or free game?
Yeah, I got a picture with like
Got
a
picture
yellow
with-
taxi chainsaw. What's it called again?
It was it's the chainsaw gun.
So is it like a Comic-Con where there's a bunch of like booths set up and people like selling?
No,
art
no,
or
no,
anything like
no,
that?
no,
So
no.
it's
It's all
strictly
video game
games and
based.
strictly
It's only
like,
for
what's coming out and
yeah,
what's-
yeah.
okay.
And it's
And
only game companies are allowed to. be
Yeah,
there.
when we went, it wasn't even open to the public. They made it open to the public like within the last 5 years.
Yeah, they
think.
tried because it was dying.
It was dying. Yeah.
Yeah. And if you wanted to go when it was at its height, you had to pay like $800 a ticket.
God damn.
Like they made it to where if you really want to go, you better pony up. So yeah,
But
it was.
but you're only just getting information though, right? You don't like.
Well, you have
No,
to play
you can
the
get-
game.
You can play all the games
You
that
have
are
to
coming
see
out
the new
6
system.
6 months
They
from
give you
now, whatever.
all kinds of free electronics.
Ton of free shit. You get
all
a ton
kinds
of
of free
shit.
stuff.
Yep. mhm.
Yeah.
Huh.
And if you
Lo-
were a
yeah.
blogger or content creator, I imagine that created a lot of stuff for you to talk about over the next
Oh
year.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Worth
and-
the money.
Yeah, and they got
Huh.
hooked up. So if you're a creator, you got the free Xbox, you got the free games and all that shit, right? They saw us just moping around like, what are these guys doing here? Hey man, I like Xbox, man. And they're like, oh, cool. Oh man, yeah, that's so much fun, man. So so and
Is
that's
that
that's
a
a,
fifth dimensioner?
that's how I would just went around talking to everybody like that. They're like, oh, just give him something so he goes away. Oh man, yeah, man, thanks, man. So
New York's crazy, son.
yeah, New York crazy, man. Ghost jizz. Phenomenal. All right. Well, that's our show, everyone. Thanks for tuning in to Nerds Talking, the podcast. We'll see you next week. For Laura.
Goodbye.
Oh, you sounded pretty good there. Wow. Cured already. For Johnny.
See ya.
For Carlos.
Bye-bye.
And I'm Lafayette. We'll see you next time on Nerds Talking, the podcast. Have a good one.